Good morning. Happy Sunday brunch. Hope everybody is doing well. Getting feedback. Let me see if I can fix that. Should be okay. I definitely feel like I can hear it coming out of that camera, which it's not supposed to be doing. Ooh. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely says muted. Oh well. I'm gonna get a little bit of feedback. Hopefully you guys can't hear it. Hi, Mary. Good morning. Happy Sunday. All right. So today I'm going to be working on forest for the trees, which is, I put those blocks. There we go, which is an FPP pattern. That is one that I wrote up based off a traditional pattern, but I did it in FPP because I'm a lunatic for FPP. Hi, Del Marie. Hey, Shelly. Hi, Ingrid. Oh, good. Glad you guys can hear me. That's awesome. I don't usually hear my voice coming from the overhead camera, but today it's doing it for some reason. But I know that there was recently a like update to 18, so I may have to refiddle with settings, so I'm not hearing myself coming out of this overhead camera, which is just an iPhone. Hi, Candace. How is everybody doing this Sunday? Did everybody enjoy yesterday? It was National SOA Jelly Roll Day, which is kind of fun. I did some on my channel. I know that there were a ton of jelly roll jelly roll races, other patterns using jelly rolls. We talked a little bit about everybody's favorite jelly roll patterns. Apparently, Fat Quarter Shop has some free ones on their website, so I'm going to go check those out. But I'm going to have my last batch of patterns printed out. And I'm going to kind of whiz through all of the trunks and then go through the next page, like the next groups. So I'm just going to pull out trunks and get those working. Oh, while I'm pulling those out, I can show, this is the jelly roll race. This is what I'm working on. It's a rail fence. So these are the 4 patches that I got together yesterday, which I think it's going to be so pretty. A random batik set that I definitely got from So Yeah. But it looks like a Grateful Dead tribute with its tie-dye look and its berries. Oh, good, Shelly. Thank you. Oh, fun. I'm so glad, Del Marie. We're all working on forest. I love it. I'm trying to play a little bit of catch up before Ingrid and I have our Tuesday night sew this week. With the retreat last week. And I really should have played some catch up earlier this week because Ingrid was visiting family. but I definitely was not able to. I need to catch up before we meet on Tuesday, because the goal Tuesday is to start working on, or to show how to build the rows together. It's in diagonal, so it's kind of on point. And I know on point is not everybody's favorite style. So I'm gonna show how I'm doing it. Not that I do it any special way, but maybe doing it together will make people feel better about it. Oh, Candace says it was hot yesterday for an outdoor celebration of life. I love it. Celebration of life. Hi, Sylvia, Melissa. Hi, Lori and Brenda. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right, everybody look away if cutting papers with scissors gets on your nerves. Just pretend like you don't see what's happening here. No scissors were harmed in the making of this video, I promise. Have you all done the where you sharpen your seam rippers and hone your scissors by cutting through aluminum foil? That actually really works. It's not actually sharpening, it's rehoning, like getting the little funky ridges out of the blades, and it really works really well to, elongate the life of your sharp things. Phone is tilting. Let's try to tighten this up. Otherwise, you'll just be looking out the door in a couple minutes. Hey, Robert, how are you doing? Oh, Ingrid's babysitting dogs. Love that. Ingrid, if you are up for it, I was saying that I was going to bring earbuds to you today. And Lauren was like, oh, yes, please. Let's go meet Steve and play with George. But I know that you're just getting back from long trips, so will not be offended if you're like, no, please stay away. Plus, you're watching all the dogs. Hello, Linda. Welcome. All right. So let's go ahead and get all these pre-folded. Yeah, it'll do the seam ripper too. You just gotta stab it in there. You get some aggression out too. And your pins. If your pins are getting dull, it'll do pins too. It's pretty cool. Or if you have pins will get sharpened in pin cushions with walnut shells. I know that there are allergies out there, so not everybody does the walnut shells. Some folks do the sand. I don't think sand does as good a job of sharpening the pins. Just, or at least the sand that you put in pin cushions, it's too fine. Like Ocean City sand, Ocean City, Maryland sand, which is really rough, would sharpen everything. First side. I've got to think of the next sew along that I'm going to do. I have a pattern that I'm really excited about that is not a beginner friendly pattern. So I kind of dislike the terminology beginner friendly or intermediate or advanced because, like we were talking about at the retreat this past week or 2 weeks ago now. No. Yes, 2 weeks ago now. Time flies. Some folks will start with a king size quilt for their very first quilt. And because they don't know, they're not supposed to, it's not supposed to, from the quilt police, they do it just fine, even though most folks would say don't start with a king size quilt. So the whole beginner friendly, intermediate friendly, I think it's just more a complexity level. That's what I'll say. So I feel that Forest for the Trees is a medium complexity level, more because there's a Y seam involved. So that is kind of scary for folks. But this one that I want to do, that I'm really excited about doing, is definitely on the super complex. Lots of little pieces, recreating. Actually, it's recreating one of the stars we did for the 2-color quilt, the sparkling star. If anybody here did okay, Ingrid, definitely will come over. If anybody did the 2-color quilt challenge from last year, the first block we did was called Sparkling Star. And it made me insane. I did not enjoy doing that one traditionally. It was, I think we started with the most spicy block we absolutely could have. And it was all downhill from there. Like everything else was very easy. Not all downhill in terms of it went bad. Downhill in terms of it got a lot easier to do the rest of the blocks. So I decided I wanted to take that star, turn it into FPP, because the precision of the points are a lot easier in FPP. So the quilt top that I wrote has that star called Sparkling Star, and then another really cool star called the Dusty Rose. And I want to do that one as a high on the complexity scale sew along. I'm thinking I might do it as a challenge for everybody because I think it'll be fun. Who doesn't love a challenge? All right. You can definitely tell that this has been sat on by cats. We've got cat sprinkles everywhere. Start. So Forest for the Trees, what way I'm doing it is in solids. So right side, wrong side doesn't matter. But terminology or motto to remember that I first said at the retreat to my friend Donna was, when you're starting off the first piece of fabric with your paper, it's wrong sides together. Because in our heads, this side that's printed feels like the right side, and the side that has nothing on it feels like the wrong side. And then if you're using a print fabric, you want the right side facing you. So for that first piece, you're doing wrong sides together. After your first piece, it's like traditional piecing from then on. It's Um, it's right sides together for the fabric moving forward the whole time. Del Marie says the sparkling star was her favorite. It's gorgeous. Look wise, I agree. Favorite. Working on it wise, I wanted to cry. That star, Melissa says, that star was spicy. It was, that star was what really got us into the spicy and mild terminology for that whole sew along, because that one was super spicy. I love it, Melissa. Melissa says, bring on the challenge. I think I'll do that. I have the pattern. I don't have it released because I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure about it. I wasn't sure if people were going to enjoy the challenge, but I want the challenge. So, oh, you're so right, Jen. It's extra embellishment. They, they leave a little bit of their DNA everywhere in this house. I just slid it out of place, so I need to reset. Won't be able to string piece these because it starts in the middle of this block, but that's all right. I'm going to mass produce it just the same. I can get them all sewn, all pressed, all at the same time. And then the base of all these remaining ones will be done. It's 24 trees total. And then we'll do the settings triangles. Oh, I cut that one way too close. That'll be fine. Oh, Melissa says she's about to tackle some FPP Halloween gnomes. Oh, that's adorable. You'll have to share with us. Share a pic on SleighArts.com. I would love to see that. Oh, Del Marie, is that true? Okay, that's cool to know that most sew-alongs aren't difficult enough. Well, I think everybody is nervous to alienate the beginners, but I feel like, again, I really feel like there's nothing a new person can't do if they're doing it in community with other folks, helping them, teaching them what they have learned, teaching them, different hints and tips So while I do think you should do beginner ones, what would be deemed beginner ones, I think folks like a good challenge. And if they do nothing other than watch and learn from other people doing it, well, then they're ready the next time a challenge like that comes up. And if we do it on YouTube, it lives forever. They'll be able to see it forever. Helps if I turn on my iron to be ready. Do you guys do that? Forget to turn on your iron. And then you turn around ready to go. And nope. All right. Well, Ingrid reminded us that today is officially first day of fall, of autumn, fall, whatever you call it. So happy autumnal equinox. It means it's sweater weather and campfire weather, well, bonfire in the backyard weather. That's always a good time with the kiddos here. Grill some hamburgers and hot dogs on the bonfire, then some s'mores. Do you all have any um like autumn, any fall traditions that you like to do? Apple picking and all that kind of stuff. Uh-oh. Where did my magic juice pen go? Along with leaving cat DNA behind, they also tend to, oh, here it is. They also tend to move things about, which can be a challenge. Oh, Melissa, that sounds fantastic. Oh yeah, not much fall weather yet, huh, Candace? Candace says it's 90s this week in Georgia. Yeah. I swear here in Maryland now it's always summer until it's winter, at least during the day. The nights can be nice and fall-ish. Oh, oh, the foliage. I love going on rides to check out the changing of the colors. When the foliage on the roads and the sides and the mountains around here look like like they're on fire. It's very cool. Right. Mhm. Now for the next side. Melissa, that's funny. We would be outside drinking apple cider. Of course, apple cider. I do really enjoy the smell of like mulled apple cider going. So I need to get up to there's the Catoctin orchard up the road, just up the road a ways from us here. Go get some cider, some apple dumplings that they cook in their little bakery on site. That's a fun tradition. I am on my last six, so 18 out of 24. And so I'm hoping Tuesday night I'll be able to do what I'm envisioning as the top left corner of the layout. So I'll be able to show how to put the um, setting triangles on the ends of a couple of rows and then the um, end cap for the corner, which is going to be. Let me see if I can show this well enough. So I'm hoping on Tuesday night to be able to show like this row here where it's four trees and two triangles, then two trees and two triangles, and then this setting like end cap of a big old triangle. Let me see if I can bring it closer, if that makes more sense. So I'm hoping to be able to sew together this row, and that last bit, and show how to line those up for the on point setting. Yeah, that's the plan. With the camera set up and everything, these longer rows that have 6 trees in it, there's a potential that I could knock down the camera, the front camera, as it's going through. So that's why I'm concerned about it. I have to, when like I'm putting together a big top, I have to move all of the paraphernalia out of the way. Otherwise, everything gets knocked down. So that's why I'm hoping these two. So I might, if I have more time, do these 3 essentially rows, and then these 3, and save the middle 2 for off camera. That's the goal for Tuesday. I'm excited about it. So yeah. I like the on point setting. I just think it looks so cool. So I'm kind of partial to that. Actually, I think I'm very partial to that now that I'm thinking about recent patterns. This is on point. The one that the one that I was talking about doing, the one that's a little bit on the more difficult side, is on point. Yeah. Trimming down the mahogany. So I'm using Kona solids. I know Kona likes to fray a lot, but Kona has the widest selection, widest variety of basic colors. Like they're at 372 now, 273 potentially. So that's why I like Kona too. I know Legit Kits uses Kona a lot because of that reason, such the variety of colors they can get. So when I'm talking about these colors, it's in Kona colors. So my tree trunk is mahogany, and this background is maize, which is a light butter yellow, but not to be confused with their butter yellow. But I'd like to trim down the mahogany really close, that I'm comfortable with, as close as you're comfortable with, and put the lighter color. So the lighter color here is the maize color. Maize is in corn. Have it up a little bit higher so that when you fold back the fabric, there's no shadow of the darker color through. I sew at a very small stitch length, so I'm comfortable trimming it down to like an 1/8 ish. I mean, I'm just eyeballing it. That may possibly be larger than an 1/8, but around there. Because I know that the smaller stitch length is gonna keep it from falling apart. And then I'll put the maize, so you'll be able to see the yellow over the mahogany. like that. And so that just adds, like, it um doubles up the yellow, making it hide the mahogany much better. And I just need to make sure with the touch test that I've got my whole triangle settled with the fabric, and then stitch away. Yes, isn't that cool, Melissa? Melissa said she just got the 2025 calendar. Oh, I haven't ordered that yet. I need to do that. Um, and the February is Chip the goldfish, the goldfish. um, yeah, that was a big topic of conversation that was going to be in there. It's pretty neat. Oh, speaking of legit kits, the the newest, very exciting, newest class kit. So if you wanted to take a class, they still can't be virtual yet. Um, but in-person class, they have created the Blue Jay Mini. So I just got this as a to test it as the instructors. We all got this, and it is just 15 by 20. So they made the BJ the Blue Jay a little tiny guy, which I'm so excited about. So I'm going to be sewing him up as part of the tester crew to get him all completed, and then this will be a class kit to do. I'm excited. It's going to be so fun. I love that I'm going to have. I love that I'm going to have one of these days the larger blue BJ the Blue Jay, and then the tiny one. Hey, Shirley, around to it. Right, Shirley? It's been a long time since I've looked at my name list. Try to keep myself straight with names. Isn't it adorable? It's so cute. And in October, Hazy Hills East should be coming out. So that trio will be all done, which means Hazy Hills Central will go on sale. They released that last year at the Houston show, right? I feel like I remember that correctly. So that'll be next month. So you're gonna see a lot of like paper after the fabric. It's just because I cut my papers bigger. Don't worry about it. As long as you're within the seam allowance, you're good. I didn't trim this mahogany back enough, so I need to do a little bit of a trimming. So again, we don't get that shadow because that dark brown is definitely dark enough to show. There we go. There we go. Oh, so it's also football Sunday. Is anybody watching football today? Oh, good. Didn't even have to look at my list. I got the name right. Good to see you, Shirley. Hi, Terry. How are you doing? Robert says a wooden token size of a $50 with the words to it is what his Nana had. I love that. My dad had a ball that was called an around to it, and it had all the like this whole like I can't remember if it was a poem or just a statement, but it went all the way around the ball, and it was called an around to it. So I always think of that whenever I see Shirley's screen name. He was a principal, and he had it on his desk for I think very much the same reason, Robert, in case someone said it. You could just say, well, now you've gotten around to it, so get around to it. Because my dad was not an around to it kind of guy. He was a do it now kind of dude. Right. We're on to the bigger triangle. I think I might be able to do this final triangle chain piecing because it could just go all the way across. Well, that'll be nice. I was just talking about it being football Sunday, and I have a fantasy football team, and I didn't check to see if my tight end was actually going to play today or not. He was on the questionable list. I should have checked that out. Yeah, Robert, it was great. It worked really well. Oh, the Chiefs are playing the Falcons. Neat. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be. I like that. That's going to be a good game. I love football Sunday. I love football Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. I love that there's sometimes Saturday games. Oh, for folks that are, Siberian Wind, hello. For folks that have YouTube channels, if you are here, I want folks to know what your channel is. If you put exclamation mark selfie, so it's all like one word squished together for Nightbot, exclamation mark selfie, lowercase letters, it will show, Nightbot will show your channel. So definitely do that because I have failed at getting everybody's name in manually, like doing it. So the when I figured out the selfie thing, it was fantastic. And that way everybody can check you out too. Just not right now. Later, when we're done, go check everybody out. Yay, there we go. Nice. Hey, Kay, how are you doing? Oh, you should put in exclamation mark selfie too. RV Quilt Quest, hello. RV, if you don't mind sharing your first name, or I can just call you RV or RV Quilt, whatever you're comfortable with. But with an RV Quilt Quest, I feel like you might have a YouTube channel too. So definitely do the exclamation mark selfie. It's like the it's really like the smallest thing in the world, but also the easiest thing in the world to help folks meet new people on YouTube. So, hi, Rhonda. I'll have to write that down. I'll have to write Rhonda down. Oh, of course, I don't have my. This is why I never can see in my book anymore because I don't have it. It's in my bag all the time because I also write down ideas for patterns in it. So I will try to remember. RV is Rhonda. Welcome. And Kay, I know it's been forever since we aren't doing the cotton cuts like every week or every month anymore. It has been forever since I've seen you. You still keeping your sister in line? um, I think Rhonda asked, "Oh yes, what are you making?" I am working on. This is a self-written pattern. I wrote it based off a traditional block, and so it's an FPP because foundation paper piecing is it's kind of my jam. It's what I like to do. I teach at retreats and both in person and virtual. And so I've written patterns as well. Oh, the whole spiel available on my website, which is SleighArts.com. But so I'm working today playing some catch up on these blocks. My friend Ingrid, who is here in the chat, but she's got puppies that she's watching, so you might not see her all the time. She and I are doing this on Tuesday nights, and this next Tuesday night I'm going to be showing how to finish the quilt top. So I've got some catching up to do because we went to a retreat, and so I've fallen a little bit behind. So I need to catch up so I'm ready to show everybody the next steps. But this is a fun pattern because it's foundation paper piecing. There is a Y seam involved, which I personally think is made easier by the fact that it is foundation paper piecing. And I had friends test, oops, sorry, that was loud. I had friends test sew the block for me before releasing the pattern, and they also concur that doing the Y seam with foundation paper piecing was an easier way to do it. So that was exciting to find that out. Oh, good. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. Yay. I love my lurkers. Lurkers are wonderful. I'm often a lurker because I'll put it up on my big TV and then I'll be working on some kind of project. And so I never really get to say very much because I'm in the middle of working and it's on my big TV. That it's not a fancy TV where I can connect my phone to it. So I can't comment. Fancy enough to get to YouTube, not fancy enough for Bluetooth. Connect your phone to it. It's probably time to retire that TV though. Kay asks, is it marked? And that's better. Um, so I'm inferring what I think you mean by the question. And if I'm wrong, if I've missed something in the chat, I apologize. That I could be answering the wrong question. So sorry. But if you mean about the Y seam, yes, the fact that when you are putting the you have a so you'll end up stopping at right at the 1/4 inch, and then when you bring the other pieces together, you know exactly where to start and stop because of the marked sew lines on the paper piecing, and that has made it so much easier. That's made all the difference. There's no guesswork where you're trying to correctly mark where that 1/4 inch is. I feel the stability that the paper adds also helps in making it easier. The fabric isn't flopping around as much. So I found it very helpful. Good mind reading. Sometimes the talk in the chat, I don't catch what like the first thing was, and I've found myself answering questions that weren't asked. Like, oops, sorry. All right. So this is the last of the trunks. I think what I'll do, rather than take the time to trim them all, I'll go ahead and start on the next batch of things, next colors for the tree limbs. But if you've never done FPP before and you're trimming, for my patterns, the sew lines that you'll sew blocks together will be the darker, thicker inner line surrounding everything. And then the 1/4 inch seam that you're going to want to keep so that you have enough fabric to sew the blocks together is the lighter, thinner line. And you'll line your ruler up on that line, the sew line, the solid sew line, and trim down to that. I always recommend using the same ruler to trim all of your blocks the whole way through a project because some of the, let me see what other rulers I might have hanging around. Like this one, well, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. The 1/4 inch line on this guy is a thicker pink, and on this guy is thinner. The black line for the 1/4 inch is thinner. And because FPP, you're going for such precision, just that little bit of where you might line up the pink, thicker one versus the thinner black one can change and can build over time as you're cutting different pieces with different rulers. And so I like to just give as much consistency across the project as possible. Like they say, don't change machines in between, as you're building a project. I try to use the same ruler throughout the whole project. Is it going to be a huge difference? Probably not. But again, the precision of FPP, I would just recommend doing that. It can change it up a little bit. Okay, he forgets not everybody lives in her head. Good morning, Katie. How are you doing? Excited to see everybody this morning. So we'll separate these. Oops. And then we'll get started on some of the tree branches. Oh, Susan said her back hurts a lot. All right, so let's move these aside and let's do Smaller. Yeah, we'll do the smaller ones. Where did I put those? Here we go. Oh, blank page. Do the spruces. Anyone just joining, I am working on a FPP pattern, Forest Through the Trees. And it's a pattern that I actually wrote, which is very exciting to be able to do a sew along with something I actually wrote. Oh, hi, Tamla. Welcome, welcome. I hope the yard work was not too strenuous, but it's that time of year for sure. The leaves have started falling. Our backyard needs a good weed whacking and and rake. Folks that are just coming in, I just want to remind you, if you have a YouTube channel, if you do !selfie, folks will be able to find you too after my live. After. But I want folks to be able to find you and enjoy your channels as well. So !selfie. Hi, Digital Donna, 9 a.m. Good morning. Thank you for joining us so early. I think that has been the most fun part about being on YouTube is getting to hang out with folks from all over the US, all over the world. We've got friends from Australia and France and England and Bermuda, Canada. I think I feel like that's at least what I've seen. Folks fessing up to where they're from. There we go. Ready for spruce. Yeah, there you go, Katie. Perfect. Like I said, I would love to be able to remember to put everybody into Nightbot, but I have proven that that's impossible for me. So having everybody go ahead and be able to do selfie, it's, there's a small way I can help get everybody's name out there. I'm just folding these. I'm not even bringing out the card because it's just one fold for these. There we go. And I should be able to do these all in just a chain too. Donna, yes, absolutely. It makes it so much fun. Oh, Melissa was talking about Katie, the Greenland quilter is Katie, and she's a quilter, as in her name, but being in Greenland, the scenery that she has to show us is incredible. And she has so much knowledge about the area. It's amazing to watch her videos. Right. So I'm trying to get away with um on these smaller yellow, the maize color. I'm trying to get away with some of the offcuts. So you may see me finagling like with the selvage edge ones, uh, because I like to live dangerously. So I don't recommend this for anybody else unless you've got like some good experience with FPP and you're comfortable with setting up your fabrics and everything. But I half of the fun for me is figuring out how to use as little amount of fabric as possible and still be able to pull off the full effect of the project. So that's why I like to, like, this is just the ends of cutting out other pieces of the yellow, and so it then becomes a game for me to use them up, because I am a child. Gosh, it's been so long since I've been doing this. I want to make sure this is the spruce. Let's see. Let's compare it to this guy. Yeah, that's definitely the spruce. Okay, good. Oh, the scenery, Katie, where you're at. Oh my word. The colors that the ice, that blues that are incredible. So because I'm using solids, this helps with, it doesn't matter how the angle was cut, because it's a solid, I can flip it to match whatever angle I'm adding the fabric to. That's helpful, especially when you're just starting off with FPP, and you're trying to learn all of the tricks and everything. Starting with solid will help eliminate some of the guesswork. I just want to make sure, since I've got the selvage edge, that I pull this up enough. Yeah. And you'll see me like lifting it up. I'm checking it out in the light from the window to make sure I'm covering the entire space of the area I'm trying to fill with fabric. I can see that through shining through. So some folks will use light boxes, which is very cool. I am very much a fan of using what you have uh, until you have decided that you like a technique enough that then you go, because I'm also very much a gadget girl. So then you go all in with, um, oh, Katie, it might not come up again because you did it just a little bit ago. So give it a couple of minutes, maybe. So let's see. Oh, Susan, that is a good question. How do you get off the couch when your back is screaming with pain? I wouldn't. I would stay on the couch until I had to go to the bathroom, I guess. Oh. Green's my favorite color, so I love this green. But what I was saying about I'm definitely a gadget girl. I definitely have a light box, but it's one more thing to like pull out. And I'm lucky that my sewing area is in a spot with great natural light, but I also have lights that I can use very similarly to a light box. Um, so I'm not big into saying, oh, you have to have this gadget. Like, I know a lot of folks like the add a quarter rulers, which are great. I also have add a quarter rulers. I've used add a quarter rulers, but it's never, even as much FPP as I do, my add a quarter rulers are never on my table. So I just use my 1/4 inch for my regular rulers. No reason to spend the money then, since I don't use them that way. Oh, Katie, fun question. So I want to ask everybody else this too. I have been quilting. I just hit my 4-year anniversary while I was at Walnut Court. So 2 Thursdays ago was my 4-year anniversary where I had a picture of me cutting into the fleece. We were talking about folks choosing to start with a king size quilt as your first project. I decided to start with fleece. I had a rotary cutter that was from my Cricut. I had a cutting mat that was from my Cricut. I started with fleece. I didn't have the right needle. I definitely had the right thread. The thread was fine. I wasn't using cotton, so it was super tough. It definitely held the fleece together just fine. But I was unprepared for the amount of lint that was going to be created. I was unprepared for how thick those seams were going to be. So that's where the not having the right needle came into play. It was definitely a labor of love because it was for my daughter. So I powered through. But it's fun to see those memories pop back up in like your timeline and everything. To see that. Because boy, I would not have chosen that if I had known. But so yeah, I've been doing for 4 years. How long have you all been quilting for out there? Been quilting for 4 years. I will be coming up on my 2-year anniversary of being on YouTube, which is wild. I want to be careful about keeping this dark spruce behind the maize yellow. There we go. Melissa's been doing it a little over a year. Katie started around the fall of 2018. So you're coming up on your 6 year. That's awesome. Jen's got over 60 years. I can't even imagine the amount of change you've seen in the quilting world over the past 60 years. Fascinating. You could probably write a book. I would be absolutely on board to read that book. Del Marie started in 2019. Oh yeah, see, Katie said the same thing. I can't imagine the difference of fabrics, of notions. Machines have kind of stayed the same, but oh man, seriously, write a book. That's incredible. Siberian Wind since 2005. That's amazing. You guys have some good longevity in the game. So I think what Del Marie said was right. It's time we start playing with some more challenging sew alongs here on the channel. Get some down and dirty, like mind bender patterns. When we did New York Beauty together, and those can be fun with subunits and all that stuff that we did, and we got through that. So I think everybody is up for the challenge. Susan says made her first quilt in February of 98. No, 88. Nice. Charlotte made her first quilt in 2021, May of 2021. And Charlotte is absolutely fearless. Shelly's been on and off for 35 years and started as a seamstress. Yeah. Costumes and clothes and bags. I love bag making. Oh, Jen says, used to use scissors and cardboard templates. That's so cool. Everything was hand pieced and hand quilted. And if you did anything by machine, you were looked down upon. The quilt police have been here forever. Oh, wow. Tamala, at 14 years old, you made your first quilt? That's awesome. Oh, developing film was expensive. Yeah. There's also not quite the same uh ferocious need for that kind of information the way we're like, you know, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, TikTok, where we're looking to devour that information now uh instantaneously. Wasn't quite that way. So Terry says her interests are all over the place, from making bags to restoring vintage machines. Yeah, you guys should definitely check out So Terry's channel. I think so it's about 12-20. I feel like if you know, because we've had new folks come in, for folks that have channels, you I feel like Nightbot will probably let you do it again now. So you might want to, if you want to check that out. Susan's been sewing, she's been 7. Oh yeah, Charlotte. Yeah, you and I went through that whole thing with that Lone Star. I knew that you were fearless. Jen said in 76 there was a big resurgence in quilting. Oh, so it must have been neat to see another resurgence during the pandemic. Robert said 0 experience, 46 featherweight. Mom's thermal blanket. Holy moly. Oh, and you did hand tying. That's cool. I haven't. I've done that on a group project, baby quilt with that. What is that stuff that fray check so that the yarn didn't undo? But I haven't done it on like a big thing. Man, Eleanor Burns. Tamala says her first was Love Love's Knot by Eleanor Burns. That woman, that woman is incredible. I love all of her work. Oh, Sylvia's was using a machine for almost 20 years, and now the learning curve with the new ones. Did you get a computerized one? That that can be challenging. That's where the changes have happened. Like the internal mechanics of the machines haven't really changed, but the different settings and the different, like you can get do embroidery on your sewing machine, and that kind of stuff has all changed, which is wild. But it is kind of neat that the mechanics of the machine hasn't changed. Yeah, the Lone Star. That was a while ago. All right. I love that for the branches of this tree, for this pattern, you'll be able to do this chain piecing all the way through, get all of them done, get them all flipped and pressed and trimmed all together at the same time. I'm hoping I'll be able to whip through these and have everything ready to go. If I don't have these last 6 like completed by then, I have enough to get those, like the top 2 and the bottom 2 done to show those corners. But I want to be able to show I want to be able to show the final whole quilt top. I'm not quilted the flimsy later, this week. So and if you were doing the Blade Runner blooms sew along with me, and you remember that I didn't realize until the end that I had switched a blue and a purple bloom. I got that fixed up while I was at the retreat. So I'll take the new finished picture, get that posted on our website or in our Facebook page to show that I fixed it. It's never fun for the final picture to realize, oh, you made a mistake. But it was the easy one to fix. So, and it would not have been the end of the world if I had left the 2 colors switched. That one's going to be too small. Oh, Terry, thanks so much for being here. Oh, thanks for sharing your channel again too. Folks can see so Terry has been refurbishing featherweights, and it's been very fun to watch her do that. She's got some cool color. The most recent picture I saw was like a candy apple red one. Oh, that's cool. Jen saying that the fabric now is definitely better and there's more variety for quilters and, well, anybody that's using the fabric. And that's kind of nice. I like variety. All right, so we've got we've got a good string of branches now. Separated. Okay. There we go. All right. How much time do we have? 12:30, still a little bit of time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press a couple of these back, and then I'll go ahead and show what trimming looks like. I'll trim one of the trunks, and I'll trim one of the branches so that you can see what I was talking about, the sew line and everything. Let's turn back on. Press one of these guys out. So I do use, it's called Magic Juice, but it's not really called Magic Juice. It's Acorn Easy Press. It is a fabric, it's a starch alternative, and it's a company out of Canada, and it's their proprietary formula for their stuff. I use it for everything. I use it for traditional piecing, for FPP. With FPP, you just have to be careful not to put too much on. You don't want to put too much on, even if you're doing traditional piecing, but just especially when you're doing FPP, so it doesn't really wet the paper. But I use it for everything, and I like to say that when I'm joining my pieces of fabric together, I like them to know each other on a biblical nature. Like, I want them to feel like they are conjoined. They're not two separate pieces of fabric. And I feel like if I'm going to say, oh, you need a notion, this would be the notion I would say you need, for sure. It's definitely helped me with this past year. One of my goals has been to become more precise in traditional piecing, and using this to press my traditional blocks super flat has helped in that precision with traditional piecing. All right, so I think what I'll do is remove the sew table or the extension table so that I've got more space for trimming. Without knocking everything all over the place. That's going to be the trick. There we go. All right. So I got a little bit more room for trimming. So I do want to show for these guys, this is where the confusion with FPP sometimes comes up, because when I'm sewing this piece together, it looks weird. It looks wrong. It looks like it's not going to work out correctly, which is why I always fold the pattern. FPP is backwards, upside down, topsy-turvy, makes no sense. So it takes a while to train your brain. And I still can't look at a pattern piece like this and just lay out the pieces correctly. Even this many years into it, my brain doesn't work this way. So I always work off of the mirror image. Since everything is done backwards and mirrored, I work off the mirror image, where I'll fold the pattern on itself and then line up the piece that I'm adding so that I can tell that piece of fabric is covering the shape that I need to fill now. Come down this way. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see the sew line and the seam allowance line. and I know that my fabric is covering that entire space. So that when we flip the paper over, sew on the sew line, flip the fabric over, that angle is going to be correct to cover the entire shape and area. So that's how I do that. That's how it makes sense to my brain. That way doesn't work for everybody. That's why folks will use light boxes. Folks will use their window. Folks will, some will draw the shape in here to figure it out. Some folks will put the fabric on and on this side, and then fold the fabric and the paper together to create the sew line seam on the fabric, and then line it up on the back where they know that they're going to sew across. There are a lot of different ways to make it make sense, but part of the reason that FPP is confusing is because things don't look like they're going to work. So that's one of the ways that I've kind of figured out working in that upside down, topsy-turvy, mirrored way to make those angles work. Oh, Ingrid's back. She was chasing animals. No, glad to have you. Sylvia says, I do it your way most of the time. Yeah, I just, that way works for my brain. And if you're new to FPP, if you're new to any technique, if you have done techniques the same way, for years, I always recommend watching as many different people as possible, because you'll pick up little bits from different folks that might work for you. So the stuff that you don't think is going to work for you, you just forget about, and just don't put that in your toolkit. And the things that you think are going to be great, you add those. And I think you can learn from people no matter how long you've been doing a technique. You can learn other ways to make it more efficient or faster, fewer steps, all of that. You just can continue to learn, which I think is the most fun about anything. So that's how I line that up. And then I'm just gonna again show you. So I'm gonna use this little guy to trim all of the pieces, even when they're longer than this guy, so that I make sure I'm using the same 1/4 inch lineup. The reason I say you don't want to just assume this 1/4 inch seam allowance line, the outside line, you don't want to just assume that's correct all the way through, because the paper can shift a little bit. The paper can, from the heat, warp and wobble. But if you are lining up your 1/4 inch on the sew line, which is where you'll be joining all of the pieces together, if the sew lines are set at 1/4 inch, it doesn't matter if the paper marking for 1/4 inch is showing something different. It just matters that the fabric is, you have that 1/4 inch lined up. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's some of it that 1/4 inch line is completely gone, and some of it's still showing up. It's just because of the heat, the warping of the paper. But because I lined it up on that sew line, when I add the next piece to it, my sew lines will line up as 1/4 inch every single time. Which is not necessarily stuff that new folks need to worry about. It's like the little nuances that you start picking up on as you do it more and more and more. trim off again, 1/4 inch from the sew line, the interior sew line for the whole block, not the sew line for the fabric pieces. And then I will do the corners because it makes it line up when you're sewing everything together a lot easier. Like when you clip the corners for half square triangles, that kind of stuff. Just makes it line up easier. And there we go. Cat hair and all. So there's that piece. And then I'll trim up the trunk too. And I'll show you that with this trunk, you'll be able to see, because I play the game of trying to use as much or as little fabric as possible, I will often end up with not a full 1/4 inch seam allowance within the block, because I'm comfortable with that and I like to do that. It's just one of the games I play to make things more interesting for me, I suppose. How much can I get away with? But like some of it, it's laying off the ends, and you know that you've definitely got full coverage there. And then like here, there's paper showing through, but I know the sew line is here, and I will still be able to catch 1/8 of an inch, and I'll be able to catch 1/8 of an inch. So that's where I live a little bit dangerously, and I don't recommend that for everybody. I just enjoy it. Like I'm just gonna catch the fabric on that one. But I had the triangles after trimming other things, and I wanted to use them, so I live dangerously that way. And if you have found, especially since we're working with such a short stitch length, if you've found that you've just kind of not even on purpose making things harder for yourself, but you are just gonna catch it, you can, fudge a little bit to the inside by like just a stitch, the size of a stitch, to the left of the sew line, to catch, kind of like you do when you're doing point, want to make sure that you get your points on like flying geese, or quarters, or half square triangles, those kinds of things with pinwheels. And you're aiming for the sew lines where they cross, and you want to make sure that you catch them, and you might just scooch just a skosh in. Same thing with FPP, where you just go a little bit inside the line right there to make sure that you catch the fabric, and it works out just fine. Let's see. Oh, Del Marie sewed up all the pieces and trimming now. The trimming part is the part that I like to have. Trimming and taking the papers out finally is the part that I like to have a good podcast or TV show on, and then I just kind of zone out and you just get into like the routine of trim, and so I have the distraction of whatever I have on to listen to, and that helps with the trimming. So the final product will look like this. I have a little bit of a thread there I need to trim out. And for some of the blocks, they'll be the ones on the edge, they'll be by themselves like this, but within the pattern, they'll join 4 of them together. And so it'll be the trees and the meadow, and then like the forest paths going around them. It makes me so happy. I'm excited about this one. I'm excited. We're almost at the end of putting it all together. And again, Tuesday night, as Ingrid's gonna hopefully be able to join us, but she's just back from a little while, so work could get in the way of that. If she's not able to join me this Tuesday night, I'm going to go ahead and still sew it up because we're a couple weeks behind on getting together to do that. And I don't want to miss out, but I don't want to have any pressure on Ingrid because, again, she's been away from the desk for a little while, and work, we all know, can get cuckoo. But I will definitely be here Tuesday night showing how to do the on point setup. So sewing the diagonal rows, which when you're sewing the rows, they're not diagonal. So you just lay them out diagonally. So I will definitely be doing that Tuesday night. I will let me grab my keyboard and I will put the link, grab the keyboard, but now I don't know where the mouse is. There we go. Link to the pattern if you would like to join in. It's never too late. Again, the fun about YouTube is these videos will be up and in a playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can come back and watch them. And of course, I want you to share your projects at my Facebook page, SleighArts.com. Nope, SleighArts on Facebook. And let me grab the pattern. I also have on my website some free blocks to do and layouts of those free blocks so that you can get practice in if you've never done FPP before and you want to just start out a little tamer than Forest for the Trees. But there's like the whirlwind block and the tumbler block. Those are really good start off ones. All right. Hey, Donna. Oh, thank you, Shelly. Robert said his first quilt setup was all done in the middle of the living room floor. Yes. So there's this pattern for this particular one, Forest for the Trees. And again, plenty of time. Don't feel like you're stressed out about not having done, not having started it when we started it. But it's a fun challenge that it has a Y seam in it on top of also being FPP. But again, all of the testers and myself, we feel really confident that it being FPP made it even easier to do a Y seam. Oh, Donna, you're never late. You're always on time. Oh, Susan, still testing positive. This new round of COVID has been like crazy. Like I've gotten all the boosters and all that kind of stuff, but my cough lasted much longer the second round than it did. But this time I didn't lose my sense of taste or anything. So it's just different. But on top of having a bad back, I feel for you. I'm so sorry you're not getting any sewing done. So sending all the healthy vibes your way for sure. So Tuesday night will be the next live again to finish up Forest for the Trees. We'll be showing the final layout and how to get those set in triangles done. And a couple different ways to do that large corner triangle. Then I will be back this week on Thursday morning with the 1718 coverlet. I need to redo the voiceover for part 2 of Let's Make a Bag. The audio got all screwed up. It was like digitized, but also just cut out in weird places. Where I was showing how to do the straps and sewing the pockets onto the main panel for the bag. But thankfully, I have the video is a separate file and then the voiceover is a separate file. So I just need to re-record, like redo the voiceover part. The video is just fine. I don't have to redo the whole thing, which I was very happy about. That's why I do it that way. So if something goes wonky with one or the other, at least I have them separate. So, and knock on wood, the odds of both of them going crazy at the same time are slim. So, um, I will get that voiceover fixed. I will also finish the this guy, the National Soa Jelly Roll pattern, the rail fence done. I'll get that one done. I have all the strips done. I just haven't cut them all into blocks. And then I need to add all the blocks into 4 patches and decide how big I want this to be. I definitely want it to be more than 3-4 patches across, but I want it to be big enough to cover, but small enough to be able to throw in a backpack for comfort cases. And then I just need to quilt this one and the jelly roll race that we did earlier this year and get those sent to comfort cases. So a few more things coming up this week. I will share pictures of and videos of, and then be back here next Sunday, which is Slow Stitch Sunday with Ingrid. This Saturday, there's still time to sign up also on my website to sign up for FPP Saturdays, which is a private Zoom thing. It never goes on YouTube. So if you're uncomfortable like having your face out on YouTube, which I totally get, I'm 100% understanding of that, which is why I like to do this separately, is only Zoom where we can see each other and we can talk. It is also available on my website. When you first sign up, it's a $20 fee because you get the retreater pattern along with registration. But then once you've been a retreater with me, you get a discount on those FPP Saturdays and every other retreat that I'll do ever onwards. But once you've signed up and done your first FPP Saturday, then from that point on, FPP Saturdays are always $5. And it is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. the last Saturday of each month, unless there's like a holiday or something that bumps it a week earlier or maybe a week later. So that's something that you could join in too if you wanted to. Thank you all so much for your time today. I've had so much fun putting this together. I'm glad to be this much closer to caught up. And then we'll see you Tuesday night for more Forest for the Trees. Everybody have a great football Sunday, or however you celebrate your Sundays, and be safe this week. And I will see you all soon. Bye now.